everybody, you hear that music? That must mean it's 12 o'clock somewhere. We got the great Tiffany back with us today. Vague Rods, how's it going? How's the recovery, young lady?
Is going pretty good. I've been out of surgery for a week now, and I was granted permission to do this podcast for an hour, and then I have to go back to bed.
Well, I'm happy that you were able to sit down here with us today, and everybody that's been watching has been asking how you're doing. So I'm sure there'll be lots of great comments today on the show, and we're happy to have you back with us. But your dad did not let anybody down. He did a phenomenal job last week, and thank God he did, because I was at Catalina and we were fishing in West Cove, and there was no service for Starlink. Every time the satellite would go behind the cliff, it would be out.
Oh my goodness.
So your dad covered well. Elliot and everybody that was watching said he did a great job. He had a massive audience. So you know your dad. He's been doing this seminar thing as long, if not longer, than I have. So he knows what to talk about.
That's all I know him doing, being 2 years old, shoved underneath the seminar table, handed cookies to me so that I would stay put and not go anywhere. And then he had it all down on how many cookies to put underneath the table. Mom wasn't there, so he wasn't going to get yelled at. And then as soon as I ate that last cookie, he was done and we could get back to the booth.
Nice. How cool is that? Yeah, your dad does a phenomenal job, and he's got a lot of great things to talk about. His knowledge goes so deep that we barely scratched the surface having him on here, so it's pretty crazy. One of our good friends, Darren, you're up there at the flats right now. Give us a call. Tell us what's going on. It sounds like he's been up there for a couple hours, and he's already got full limits on the Huntington Beach flats. It's pretty spectacular what's going on right now, Tiffany, in Southern California. We have the migratory sand bass are back. We haven't seen them for 18 years.
Oh, incredible.
The highly migratory sand bass that they wanted you all to believe were extinct. And we had to get involved with the Fish and Game Commission. We had to get all of our followers involved, and we had to save the fishery. We predicted this would happen, Tiffany. And here it is, gang. And thank God you all showed up at the meeting, because could you imagine not being able to do one of the funnest fishing things in Southern California? This sand bass is unbelievable what's going on right now. And anybody that goes up there, they're done so quickly. It's absolutely amazing. It's just such a great fishery, and to have it and to be able to live long enough to see this cycle again. This is 2 times in my short little span of 64 years on this planet. So it's pretty cool. You and I were talking before we went live. You guys don't really have a big flat mud area. The Ventura, Santa Barbara, the bay up there, there's not a big flat area. We have that in Huntington Beach. We have it in Imperial Beach. We have it in San Clemente, Oceanside area. So this migratory sand bass is something you hadn't experienced before, but right now, they're catching somewhere between 1,200 to 2,000 sand bass a day on the half-day and three-quarter-day boats.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you know the powers to be, like Don Brockman and Michael Folks and I were talking about. You know how it is in Southern California. As soon as Gavin Newsom gets wind that someone's actually able to make a living in the state of California, he's going to come down hard on us. So it's terrifying to think, uh-oh, the sport fishermen are getting to make a living right now. Get ready, gang. And he did it. Think about this. In 4 days from now, you're going to pay 61 more cents a gallon for your gasoline in the state of California. And Tiffany, it's crazy. I'm going to go real political right now. There's people protesting because of the orange man in the White House saying no King's Day and all this bullshit. We have a king in California. His name's Gavin Newsom. We didn't even vote on this gas tax. 61 cents. Bam, like that, gang, on July 1st. That's what happens when you have no voter ID. We're starting to catch some fish. The sport boats are going to start to make a tiny, not much, but a little tiny bit of money. And bam, there goes Gavin Newsom, 61 cents a gallon. right off the top for everybody.
For boaters, that's going to be insane.
For everybody. You get on an airplane, whatever you do, it's just buy a loaf of bread, gang. Everything's going up big time in California here in 4 days. You can't. So you better go out and fill up your cars and your trucks and everything now. Yeah. And any gas cans you got laying around in the backyard, fill them up now, because you're going to be filling them up with gold. It's going to be incredible.
I can see people running to Costco like they did with the toilet paper back when it was, and everybody buying out gas cans.
I would, especially if I had a boat. Anything, 55-gallon drums, put them in the back of your truck and drive over to the gas station. 61 cents is a giant number. When you, if just say your car holds 10 gallons, let's say it holds 20 gallons. Holy, I'm not a mathematician, but that's a little bit of money. That's crazy. It's crazy that they allow this crap to happen, but it's all voter ID. It's voter ID, voter ID, voter ID. I'm sorry, gang. There's not enough of you out there talking about it. And I'm going to talk about it. I know it costs me money every time I talk about it, but how can you not have voter ID? I just don't get it. I don't understand. But let's talk about something fun. So while you're laying around doing nothing, are you able to design a new how we're going to wrap these Your Saltwater Guide logo rods?
Yeah, it's slow process though, because I can't, be on the computer that much. I have to be laying flat. So my husband comes in and flips the computer like this so that I can be on my back and type, but it only goes for so long. But we're getting it. We're getting the new design and, the decorative parts that I want to do that kind of go along with the logo and everything. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
Well, this, you know what? Nothing happened. Everything on the planet happens for a reason. I think this was, if you believe in a higher power, which I do, that's why I'm sober for 38 years. But
good job.
I think God did this because he wanted you to slow down for a minute, just get ready. And if you put this design together and then you slowly video you wrap, and I know you said you could throw a rod out in a week, but if you take this and you show everybody how you do it, and then on the podcast, we show everybody how you lay this out and do it, it's going to be pretty spectacular for all the members to see how much work. For you to throw it out there as fast as you do is mind-boggling, but then to stop it, slow down, and show us all how you do it, it's going to be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, it will be. I just don't know if I should. I've been videotaping how I'm doing the schematics of the logo, but it's pretty funny because you got my husband over me holding and that's not how we normally do designs, is somebody laying on their back with the computer being held over their head as I'm typing in where I want each color to go. That's not normally how it works, but we started the video just so that it would be funny to watch what we do, but that's not what we do.
No, but there's a reason. It's going to come out really bitchin'. It's going to be spectacular. I think there's a reason for this, and we're all going to be super happy that you were able to lay this out and do it the way you did it. And we'll have to give all thanks to your husband when you guys totally put this thing together. And then one of our new members, one of our new followers, Lisa out there, the burrito catfish fishing lady. She says, hi, Tiffany.
Hi.
She's a pretty cool lady. Her name's Lisa, and her husband and her catfish live on their shows on Sunday night. And on Saturday night, we're going to get V and her husband to be fishing live on our show, jug fishing catfish on Saturday night, which is going to be something I've never witnessed before. So I'm super excited to see it. And you know what they've gotten into out there, Lisa and V and John, the owner of the tackle shop that they're all pro staffers for, is they got into this acid wrap rods, and they just love them, Tiffany. They love them. And kind of West Coast was kind of where that all started, right?
Yeah. In fact, in our intermediate class, we have Keller Batson and I do a segment on how to do the acid wrap. So we do that in the intermediate class, but it's a fun wrap to do on the guides. It's different. and it looks really cool. And fishing it is actually, not as hard as some think it would be.
To lay those guides out so that twist perfect and that's not that hard.
It's really not that difficult to do. It's just basically how many degrees each of the guides are turning around until you get it to where it's at the tip. So, I mean, you're just starting at the top and then you're doing certain degrees all the way around.
Lisa, the only reason I said that is because V came on the show yesterday and said it. That's why I thought it was jug fishing. If it's not, I apologize. Whatever it is, it's going to be something none of us have ever seen before, so we're super excited about it. But what I wanted to ask you, Tiff, is I was taught when I was a little boy, the spline of the rod. You can see the spline of the rod. That's where you wanted to put the guide. So when you go to do the acid wrap, I always thought that would twist the rod, no?
It doesn't really. I mean, back when it first started coming out, a lot of the manufacturers would not guarantee their blanks because they thought it would be too much torque on it. But after I started doing it and fishing it some, it's really not that much of a difference. It just looks really cool, but the manufacturers all had that problem, so they wouldn't guarantee the rod or the blank once that, because of the fibers. But more and more now, manufacturers are starting to see that it's not really torquing it that much. I mean, same thing with the rod. If you're fishing, let's say a 1 to 4 pound test rod, let's say it's fast action, lightweight, flimsy rod. Now, if you take it out and try to catch a shark with it, it's going to snap in half, right? Kind of the same concept. If you're fishing with fish in the same range area, then you're not going to have much of a problem. But if you're fishing something that's like 20 pound to 40 pound and you get hooked into a 300 pound fish, yeah, you're going to be torquing it and it's going to snap.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. But does it feel different in your hand than a regular? I never got to fish with one. I've seen them on the boats. I've taken people fishing. I've seen them use them, but I've never. Does it feel different when you're fighting a fish? Does it feel the same? What's the deal?
I think it's more mental, because with fishing rods, when you have it conventional, everyone's used to it straight line, one look, right? If you're doing a spinning rod, guides are down, and that's the look that you're used to. But when you pick up a rod that looks like it's both, it messes with your mind at first, because you're like looking at it and you're automatically wanting to turn your head to follow the guides.
Right.
So I think it's more mental. But the casting, everything is pretty much the same. It's just it makes you feel like it's different because it's a mental game almost. I do find some differences with like casting can be hard. When you have it up against the rack on a boat, it's not, like a spinner, you're going to face it this way. Conventional, you're going to face it this way. Well, now you have rotating guides, so you can't lay it straight on its back. That's the only real drawback, is that you're going to be putting your guides on that back.
Okay. You got to watch on Saturday night, Tiffany, V and her husband, they have these they wrapped them with some glow in the dark wrap or something. V's on here right now. Maybe she can explain it more, but the guides glow in the dark it's pretty spectacular. These acid wrap rods with the guides glowing in the dark. It's just a cool look at night when they're catfish fishing.
I'd like to see it.
Well, you better watch the show Saturday night while you're laying in bed recovering. You got nothing else to do. Eat a painkiller and watch.
I don't want to take one of those painkillers. Nope. I'm done with those. Nope.
Hey, Tim Ogilvy, I was talking to you 2 days ago and I didn't even know it was your birthday. Happy birthday 2 days ago, sir. Sorry about that. I think I did know. You said you're catching up to me or something, but now it's all coming back to me. I'll tell you what, the 70s were gnarly on me. I'm sorry. I did say happy birthday to you, Tim. I feel better now. I felt bad for a minute when I saw John Stanley saying happy birthday. I'm like, did I tell Tim? Now it's all coming back to me. This old timer stuff is tough. Gang, if you've been out there fishing for this sand bass yet, give us a call. If you haven't been out there, you got to get out there. Darren drug his boat up and launched it up in Long Beach. Matt, he did what you did. He's up there. He's already done. He's been throwing fish back for 2 hours. He said it's just wide open. Ron and his partner Marcus are just getting out there right now. Said the ocean looks like a parking lot, but everybody's catching fish. Everybody's catching fish. This is that highly migratory sand bass, gang, that they said was extinct. I was talking to Tiffany before we went live on the show, and you know, her dad has the same outlook that I have. These Fish and Game Commission people have really no idea. Everything's an emotional closure. Everything's an emotional movement to stop you from fishing. Has nothing to do with the fish in the water. And the narrative that they share is so sad because, gang, if we would have lost this sand bass, you all wouldn't even have been able to see what's going on right now because no one would be out there looking at this thing. It's like an aquarium out there right now, Tiffany, with blue sharks and yellowtail and barracuda and sand bass, all biting in 70, 80 feet of water, no structure. It's just an incredible event going on right now in SoCal. And I was looking at the Dana Wharf sport fishing boats, and they're fishing in the mud down there off of San Onofre and Box Canyon and stuff. It looked like yesterday on the Real Fun, I saw some pictures of the white-bellied sand bass. And that stuff spreads. I was talking to Al Clowers this morning down Imperial Beach. They're catching sand bass. So it's spread from the Mexican border all the way up to San Pedro, LA Harbor. So, gang, you got to get out there and try this. I know everybody wants a 200-pound bluefin so they can throw it in the trash when they get home and show a picture of all their friends at work. But we've been doing that for 12 years, gang. Aren't you tired of catching fish you can't eat and throwing them in the trash? I don't know. Maybe I just don't get it. I know I don't get it. I don't get it. I like fishing. I really enjoy the act of fishing. So going out there and driving around all day, spending thousands of dollars on fuel I just don't get it when the fish are a mile outside the harbor as wide open as they've ever been. It's pretty crazy.
Our birthday boy Tim said he's going out Saturday, so I hope he happy birthday, Tim, by the way. I hope you send some pictures of the sand bass on the website when you get them. Show everybody what they look like and what you guys are fishing for.
Yeah, we need lots of that's perfect that you said that, because we do need lots of pictures of those white-bellied sand bass so we can show them.
Yep. Somebody asked what drives me the most about rod building.
Yeah, what drives you the most?
Oh my goodness. I've always loved doing arts and crafts growing up. You know, after I got a taste of it, rod building is very highly addictive. It's very therapeutic, but it's also very time consuming. I like when people want me to make something different that nobody else in the world has. Then I can sit down and create, you know, a design that's my own based on somebody what they want, and then sit there and build something, and the reaction in everybody's faces when they see it, knowing that no one else has this, just that one person. The kids like to build rods, so I started building teaching my kids how to build, and it's something like now they're all in college, so when they come home during the summer, they like to sit down with me and build rods together. So it's kind of both of those reasons why I love doing it so much, other than it being very, very, very addicting.
And then how does the going out and picking out a blank, is that a pretty cool part of the whole rod building thing, especially with the kids? I would think that's got to be so fun to go out there and their little minds are thinking about what they're going to do with this piece of fiberglass that has no guides on it, nowhere to hold on to it, and thinking how they're going to put that together. That's got to be kind of addicting too, right?
Yeah, that's one of in the beginning class, we go over the power, the action, action deflection, deflection power, all that stuff in the beginning class, to where you really need to know 3 vital things before you pick out a rod. One is, what are you fishing for? What action of the rod you want? You've got extra fast, fast, medium fast, fast, all sorts of different things. And then the type of power you want, and then your line class rating. So you've got it. And the only way to really know what you like is to pick up rods with that type of action until you find the one that you want for the type of fishing that you're going to do for that rod.
Okay. See, I knew there was a lot to this whole thing. Mike Lewis, I thought you were going to call me, buddy. I don't know where you are, if you're on your cruise, if you're off your cruise, wherever you are, but give me a call. Paint the blank and then give it. But for me, yeah, you should. You should put. Those are kind of a cool deal if you can paint the blank like Daniel Rubin did. He painted all of his for ReelQuick, that light blue color. And then it kind of gives you an idea. Mike Lewis, you could paint some beautiful rods with the flags on them and everything, and then wrap them. Go to Tiffany's class. Okay, perfect. Perfect segue. Let's talk about your classes. See how my head's just...
Your head goes a million miles away. It's like butterfly.
Could you imagine back in the day when I was using?
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So, no. But your classes, you even got some of our members joining your classes now. How cool is that?
It is, because I always say, okay, make sure you're there Thursday at noon to get some more information that we're not covering over this class right now. And then each class, and some people haven't heard of it. I'm like, what? So then I, give them the links and everything to go over. So it's, we do that. Beginning class, I think I have Ellie's in the class and a couple of other people are in the class, and I'm hoping they're having a good time. The class just started. So this week was the second week where we went over, the power, the rankings, all the basic stuff before you pick out your blank and before you pick out your guides. And then we went over the materials of the guides, the oxides, the different types of inserts that each of the guides have, what they're good for, their fishing, what each power rating's good for, what type of fishing. And now this week they're picking out what blanks and guides and the whole components that they want, so that next week they can actually start building it.
That's got to be super exciting for all of them. And like you were telling me before we went live, don't beat up on yourselves, gang. You're not going to get a graduate's degree in this class. If you miss the class, Tiffany's just going to simply give you the information she covered the week before. There's nothing to get all worked up about, because she's going to work with you and you're going to end up wrapping your own rod by the end of this. Matt Ryan threw a rod over day before yesterday. Now he needs a replacement rod, so he's going to give you a call here after the show. And but tell everybody about these classes. We've kind of talked about them for a couple of weeks. Then you took a few weeks off to play with your surgery and hang out in the hospital and eat painkillers. But now you're back and you're painkiller free.
Painkiller free. And my dad looked at me and said, when he came Thursday, right before he went to do the podcast for me, he looked at me and says, "No, you're not going on the podcast." I'm like, "But it's 12 o'clock." And I was just like loopy. And he goes, "No, you're not going to do that to Captain Dave. I'll do it. You're staying put. I'll see you when I get back."
Yeah. And tell everybody what you kept telling the doctor when you were about to go under for surgery.
I told the doctor, just make sure I'm up by noon, because I have a podcast I have to do at noon. It's online, so I can do it in my bed. And this was Wednesday. I don't do the podcast on Wednesday. And so every time the nurses would come in, that was the first thing out of my mouth. "What time is it?" And they'd tell me it's 11 o'clock. Okay, I need my laptop at 12 o'clock because I have a podcast to do at 12 o'clock on Thursday. And every time they'd come in the whole week, that's the only thing that I would say to the nurses. finally my dad came and she says, we don't know what she's talking about, but she needs her laptop because she has a podcast at 12 o'clock on Thursday. And he goes, I got that handled. She'll be back next week.
That's a pretty hilarious story to think about that, gang. The only thing she was worried about is letting all of you down while she's getting ready to do her surgery.
And God only knows what would have came out of my mouth.
That might have been fun, though.
Somebody asked me a question about rod building, and I give them the complete answer, but it's backwards.
Right, exactly.
Something like that. Somebody was asking, saying something about the classes were too far away. Well, these aren't classes that you have to go to. These are online classes, so you can be anywhere in the world you want to be.
Maybe their computer's too far in a different room or something. They can't walk that far. I don't know.
We have some people driving in their cars with the, on their iPhones watching it. So you can be anywhere, a laptop, phone, anything. And they're online classes. So if you're on vacation somewhere, if you're in the bathroom, if you're outside on the beach, if you're fishing, wherever you're at, you can sit there and take the online class and learn. I mean, and they're not expensive either. They're pretty darn cheap for a 6-week course.
Absolutely. It's crazy, the cost. I'm just reading these comments that are coming through here with Matt, Brian, and Brent and Jason. That rod that he lost, he threw over the side because the mackerel grabbed his rod and took off with it. But he got the mackerel and he got his rod, but he threw his beautiful Komodo reel over the side with the rod attached to it. And out there in the mud, I don't even think the great Brett Mish could find that thing. Brent couldn't find it because it's in the mud with no structure. Even if you had the greatest GPS marks in the world, GPS only comes within 50 feet. You hit the bottom in the mud, it would be maybe he could find it, but I would be blown away. And plus, there's 8,000 million boats driving around there right now. It looks like Avalon on a weekend. I don't know if I'd be jumping in the water there, Brent, having somebody drive over your head, Brett. It would be pretty gnarly to see that. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see your head all sliced up by propellers over a fishing pole. We'll figure out. Tiffany will find an old blank in the back of the garage that her dad threw away, and she'll wrap it up for you, and we'll get you a rod there, Matt Ryan, while you're out there chasing all those goblins out there. But I have a big announcement for everybody right now. I just got the news. Our beloved Elliot, the man that makes all this happen, makes me and Tiffany and all of us look so good, is officially a United States citizen as of right now. He just walked out of the building with his citizenship. He did it the right way. Tom Holman cannot deport Elliot Andrew. Elliot is a U.S. citizen. Woohoo! Congratulations, Elliot. That's so cool, buddy. I'm so happy for you and happy for your beautiful wife. And thank you for everything you do for us, for Tiffany, for me, for every single one of us that watch the show. Congratulations, Elliot. That is spectacular. That is a huge deal, gang, with what's going on in the world today. Elliot did it the right way, and he's a U.S. citizen. Woohoo! No ice coming to Elliot's house. So how much does it cost to get into your classes?
For the beginning class, intermediate, or start from the beginning, it's $50 for 6 months. 6 weeks. And somebody asked on that what equipment they need. I always tell people to wait till after the first class to decide on what equipment you need, because it's going to be based on a lot of different factors between, if you're doing it one time, like a cardboard box, or if you want a hand wrapper, or if you want a power wrapper. There's many different types of power wrappers and hand wrappers. And I show you each of the ones that are good, and you make the decision of what you want. If you are just trying out rod building and not ready to get, the equipment part, then we do it the easy way, and let's just make a cardboard box, and that's what you're going to work with. Then the intermediate class, you would know if you're going to be making a lot of rods, and that we learn about 3 or 4 different designs. We go into more in depth about blanks and where the placements to put the guides to make it do different functions. We learn marbling, we learn all sorts of stuff. And then the advanced class, we go more into the weaving side of things. The advanced class is $85 for 6 weeks. So it gets, starts at 50 and it goes up. And then I do private online classes. Well, those are $120 for, 2 hours, I think it is. So there's all sorts of different classes that people can take if some people are the type that don't want to be in a classroom because they're afraid they're going to ask a question that others might find stupid when it's probably the same question that we've all asked in the beginning. But some people, they'd rather do privates than group because they don't want to feel, like one person might have built a rod, they haven't built a rod, so they're going to feel like they're less than them, which is not true. But, so some people like to do privates instead of the classes. And to get more one-on-one too with it as well.
And then Tim Ogilvy wanted to know, what does it take nowadays to build, what's the cost to make a custom rod? And it all depends on how deep you want to go, right? You can be thousands of dollars if you want.
I mean, you could it's going to boil down to the blank and the components. Those are the top 2 first things that really dictate how much a rod's going to cost. And then it goes into the design. If you're going to do a cross wrap, if you're going to do an original design, a weave, or a combination of everything all together, that's where it really starts adding up. You can make your own custom rod or have one made. The cheapest I've seen is that's not stolen from somebody, but somebody that's is selling it, and their quality components about $250, $300. And then from there, it goes on up. Again, it just all depends on what components and stuff that you want to be done to it.
Yeah, so Tim, it could be whatever level you want, but basically to get a basic rod with a single wrap, that's going to be the cheap, most inexpensive way with your custom colors on it. And then it's going to depend on the blank. I was talking to Dave Burris right before you and I hooked up, and he was saying the hardest thing nowadays, besides having Bill Batson in your back pocket, other than that, it's hard to find a blank anymore. Hardly anybody's making just blanks. The people that are making them are making the rod and everything. They're not just making blanks like they used to, right, Tiffany?
Yeah. Well, Raid Shadow has some multi-purpose blanks that are they're good quality, but they're fairly cheap. I mean, you can get them for $40. And then if you wanted to do something like an MXN guides, you can have all your components and everything for under $100. That's if you're going to be building it. And then to have someone else building it, depends on their prices. A lot of people will charge anywhere from $120 on up to put the rod together for you. So it just all depends on that part. But you can get stuff for pretty darn cheap and still have that quality there. But then if you want superior quality, you're looking into $150 blanks and stuff like that.
And then it goes with, you're going to use the ReelQuick system on there. You're going to use the Alps. What are you going to use for your reel seat? What are you going to use? You're going to use, I don't know, the old deckhand style with the cork tape was pretty cool until I touched Daniel's. Now I'm ReelQuick. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like holding a rod with those ferrule screws on it now, because it was all that in a bag of chips, Tiffany. Fishing with that thing 12, 13 hours a day for 8 days straight. I fell in love with Daniel's ReelQuick system. It's a pretty nice deal.
Pretty easy to take on and off your reel.
And just the comfortability in your hand. If you fish hard and you hold it the right way and everything, there's just those ferrule screws going up and down the blank and everything and hitting your wrist. And yeah, there's just so many variables that we just got used to doing until you see it a totally different way. And it's a kind of a different deal. And I know I've talked to him several times since he talked to you, and he says that you seem to like it a lot. So it's going to be fun to see what you do with those things, putting them together. Right?
I'm trying to figure out the design for your guides. That's where I'm hung up on. I feel like the Rain Man, because I think one way and then I'm like, well, what about this? What would Dave want me to do? So this is like completely different to where I'm not having a direction of where to go. Usually people will say, I want these guides, this design, these colors. And here I'm making something that's, so the thought process, making sure everything flows together. And then show my kids and be like, what do you think? I know, from a guy's point of view, what do you think of this? Because I know Dave doesn't want pink.
No, purple and black. Purple and black, something like that. Purple, black, gold. The black and gold calico bass colors, that's kind of like my colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody's got any more questions for Tiffany about the rods and all that goes into the thing, or getting involved with their classes, let everybody know how they can get involved with your classes. Let's do that for a minute, and then we'll get back into talking about fishing.
If you go on to vaguerods.net, on the upper corner, there's a little icon that says store, or you can go to the icon that says rod building classes. Click onto that. It'll give you a list of the beginning, intermediate, advanced. I do have another beginning class coming up that I got to put on there. But if you click onto the beginning class, it'll take you to the screen and you can just fill the information out and pay the $50. And then a week before the class starts, I'll send you the link. We do it through Zoom. So they're live classes that I walk you step by step. If you already know how to build a couple rods, but you want to learn different designs, then sign up for the intermediate class to learn different types of design, like marbling, reverse chevron wraps, tiger wraps, stuff like that. Or if you have done it all and you want to learn more of how to do weaving, then sign up for the advanced class. And it's all on vaguerods.net under the online classes. So just sign up there. Pretty simple to do.
Yeah, there you go, gang. It's real simple and very inexpensive. Like, people have asked me, is it that much per class? No, it's that much for the whole course. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and if you sign up for the beginning class, don't go out and buy a bunch of stuff before the class starts. Wait until after we go through everything in the first and second class before you start getting stuff, because I want to make sure you're getting the appropriate thing and we'll discuss the type of fishing that you're going to want to do. You're going to learn about, the action of each of the rods, what each of the rods you're going to fish for before you start buying stuff. I don't want you buying the wrong thing and then you find out, oh, this is not what I wanted. So we'll go through all of that first. So don't buy anything until after the first or second class.
Yeah, that's kind of what Justin and I and Al and Pablo tell all of our members. Stop spending money. Let's try to figure out what you're trying to accomplish. So many people will call Justin and say, hey, I got this rod, this lure, that lure, da-da-da-da. And Justin's all, well, what do you want to do? And they're like, well, we just want to catch a halibut. He's like, great. Don't bring any of that stuff. And there's just so much stuff that you don't need that there's people willing to sell it to you all day long. So you got to be careful. And then going to what you were saying earlier about the classes and the questions, that's something Justin sees all the time on the Zoom meetings. People are sitting there and somebody else will ask the question and everybody's so stoked because that was all what they were all thinking, but everyone's afraid to ask. And then you're in that, just like in your classes for the rod building, it's kind of cool to have a group of people in there with like-minded. And the next thing you know, you're all thinking the same thing, but one person asks the question and everybody's so happy that that person asked the question.
Yes.
So I want to show you guys. So we're going to talk about fishing now for a little bit. I want to show you guys this picture one of our members posted on our website yesterday in the community section that I think it's his son, caught this nice sand bass. This is what we're talking about the white bellies. These are highly migratory fish. It's so important to remember when you're talking about these fish, gang. Highly migratory. That's what you want to keep using when you're telling what's going on at the Huntington Flats right now, or down in Imperial Beach, or in Dana Point. This is a highly migratory sand bass. The reason we know that for a fact is, see by his hand, this animal's belly, it's super white. Tiffany, Justin, Al, Pablo, everybody that's watching, when you guys catch your sand bass on structure, their bellies, we almost call them dirty bellies. Their bellies are kind of a dark color. They take on the color of the kelp, or the rocks that they're living on, or the different types of seaweed that's growing on the bottom. Not just kelp, but there's different kinds of reds and browns and blacks. And so the sand bass will take on all this color. But when these fish are living in the mud like they are right now, and they're traveling fish, they have that super white belly. It looks like it's almost been buffed out. It's super white. These are what we talked about in this Fishing Game Commission meeting until we were blue in the face. Michael Folks, myself, Justin, everybody that they listened to, we talked about this fish being highly migratory. They did not believe this fish was a migratory fish because none of those people have ever fished for a living. So they don't really have anything to go off of. And the people that are fighting to close this fishery have never fished for a living. So they didn't know. Most of them haven't even been in the industry that long. This fish has been missing from our Byte for 18 years. That's why a lot of people didn't understand what we were talking about. It's a different sand bass than you're used to catching. These are white bellies. And so look at all the pictures of all the landings that are showing you guys pictures of these sand bass they're catching. It's a different fish. Matt Ryan was talking about it earlier on one of the comments he made, that this fish is a hard fighting little fish. Yeah, these things, they're not used to living in the structure where they have to run about a foot and then lock up on a rock or around a piece of seaweed. These guys are out in the open ocean. The only thing they got is to fight from the top to the bottom. So it's a fun fish to catch. And it's a very good table fare fish because it hasn't been just hunkered down on the bottom, collecting all that stuff that lives on the bottom. These guys are flying up and down the coast in 75 to 90 feet of water, migratory up and down the coast. So it's just a spectacular fish. And I'm so happy that we're here and we get to see it and we get to live it. And if any of you guys are going out there to fish these sand bass, I would hope that you make as much video content as you possibly can, and you can feed that video content to myself or to Justin or whoever you trust, and we'll try to post it as much as we can, because if you guys know anything about California, they're going to come and try to close this fishery in the middle of this thing, what's going on right now. It just started. It's only been going for 6 days. And believe me, there's people wringing their hands going, we got to shut this down, right? We got to shut this down. And Justin knows. If Justin told everybody about the amount of deers he sees in the areas he sees them, boy, they would close those areas down immediately. But our industry, if we don't report that we're catching fish, people won't come fishing. Yeah. So it's a double-edged sword, because we're kind of damned if we do and we're damned if we don't right now. And like Donnie Brockman was talking about on the show Tuesday, it's kind of everyone's taking a deep breath and kind of going, should we be posting? But then if we don't post, people don't think we catch. So it's a double-edged sword. So let's just make sure that we document as much of this as we possibly can and get ready for this, because they're coming for us, unfortunately.
Mike Lewis asked if I ever watch other builders' videos to see if maybe they're doing anything new you haven't seen before. Absolutely, Mike. I tell everybody in all of my classes to take any type of rod building class you can find, because every person does things differently. Every rod builder has their own style, their own taste, their own way they do it. And instead of copying what everybody else does, if you watch how other people do things, whether it's marbling techniques, cross-wrapping techniques, decorative design techniques, weaving techniques, you're going to learn more. And a lot of times new stuff comes into play where you can learn and add to that. So yeah, I love when people send me stuff that they're learning how to do, or stuff they've learned how to do and showing me how to do it. This rod building community, everybody feeds off of each other. So when one person learns something, we all should learn it, so it's just a rotation thing that happens. So absolutely, I love watching everybody's stuff.
Yeah, I think Mike kind of looks at that same thing with the painting part of his life. It's kind of, and then he'll go and he'll, just like you, Tiffany, like Doc Ski said, Tiffany sees something and then she goes, I can do that at a way higher level. And Mike Lewis looks at the painting thing, I think, the same way. Yeah, you see something different people are doing and you're like, yeah, grab onto that technique, but take it to a whole different level and a whole cooler thing. Like Doc Ski, you guys don't understand. When we had Doc Ski on the show 3 weeks ago or whatever, that was a big day for Tiffany and I, because that guy's a super deep, big time legend in the rod building industry. And he's got a huge name and he had so many accolades for you, Tiffany. That was so fun to watch him sit there and pay you the respect that you do deserve. And no, it's not my birthday, everybody. That's on Facebook. I don't know who decided to post that it's my birthday, but no, my birthday is in February. February 21st is my belly button birthday, and March 1st is my AA birthday. So not even close. But back to this fishing thing. These are the fish that made all the lure companies wealthy, because this fish, like Matt Ryan was saying, they eat everything, Tiffany. They eat your hookup bait. They eat your scampies. They eat your worm kings. They eat your MC swim baits. They eat the iron. They eat everything. The Lucanus jig. Everybody's lures. They eat everything. So you'll see a guy catching one on this jig, and everyone will say, you got to have that jig. And then another guy will drop down something else. They eat whatever hits the water. We were catching them back in the day on chicken bones, on trash can liners, on just about anything that hit the water. Cubby was there. He knows. It's just absolutely crazy how wonderful this fish is. It's a DEI fish. Hold on. Here's Darren. He's out there. Darren, what's going on? Are you out on that crazy sandbass bite?
We're just leaving Huntington Harbor right now.
And what was it like, buddy?
It was pretty good. We only fished from like 9 to 11:30.
Yeah.
Got plenty of easy limits for the two of us. Let a bunch of legals go. They were biting the squid. They were biting the Icara. They were biting the iron. It wasn't as wide open as calico fishing, but as soon as you see them, they were swimming around. As soon as you see them come on the sonar, we'd get bit. It was pretty easy.
How fun. That's just a great fishery, and they're all white bellies, huh?
White bellies and fat. We got two that were at least 19 inches, so we get 2 entries in the star tourney.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. Chum tube was working. They would just swim back and forth. You'd see them on the sonar. We only anchored twice in 2.5 hours, just sat there and let them come to us.
How wonderful. Thank you so much for letting everybody know how much fun. How many boats did you see out there?
There was 7 or 8 sport boats and probably 40 private boats. So this weekend's going to be gnarly, but we'll probably try to come again Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about them. They can handle the boat pressure. It doesn't bother them. The more the merrier. They love it.
Yeah, great time with me and my boy Joey.
Oh, good. I'm glad you guys had a great time together. Joey, hello. Good afternoon. Good evening. Justin's listening to you guys.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're doing really good. It's good to hear you guys had fun today.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yay. Well, thanks for taking the time out to call in and tell everybody how special that highly migratory sandbass fishing is.
And especially on the little bass rods and low profile reels, they pull hard.
Oh yeah, they're a fun fish to catch, and take some home and make some tacos. It's going to be a wonderful dinner.
I have to, otherwise my daughter won't let me come home.
All right, well go make Danny some tacos, buddy.
All right, bye guys.
Thanks, Darren. There you go. Can't get any more liver than that. We got the real info, just like when Justin's fishing live. We got so many great members out there giving us what's going on out on the water. Thank you, Darren, very much for that. Isn't that fun, Tiffany?
Yeah, that just totally gave me flashbacks of when my dad and I used to go fishing for the sea bass. I used to take gummy bears and string them up all along on the hook, and then take a gummy worm and cast it out there and just be like, fun fishing. But we would catch them left and right, left and right, left and right, just by gummy bears and worms.
And as a kid, you're thinking that's what you got to have, Dad. You got to have those gummy bears. You need those for bait. Are we stopping at 7-Eleven on the way to the boat?
Every time he'd throw me a pack of gummy worms and gummy bears and be like, okay. But so I would separate them when I was little. All the red ones I would keep, and the green ones, and I would put into like separate piles. So all the reds are the ones that I ate, and I shared the rest of them with the fish. So you'd have like a green, a yellow, all sorts of different colors, and be fishing with those and catching these sand bass left and right.
Oh, how fun. What great memories as a kid, right? That's what I keep talking about. And for California, and Matt Ryan and I, we joke a lot, but the DEI thing, perfect for Californians. This is a fish you want. This is a fish you need, California. This is the fish built for California, the DEI fish. Everybody can catch them. Makes everybody look like a good fisherman. It's available for everybody, boys, girls, people that don't know what they are. That's available for everybody. Crazy, crazy stuff. I'm so happy that we're here and we're living through this again.
I want to see people catching off the gummy bears and sending pictures over to the website. I would like to see the colors that they use for catching these fish.
Well, we're going to get Justin out there on his boat in the middle of this debacle going live, and it's going to be pretty spectacular for everybody to see what's going on. And that's what we need. We just need some live video of how spectacular this Sandbass thing is. And like Don Brockman and Michael were saying, it's not just going to be a week. This is just the beginning of something really cool for this summer. So it's going to be great. I think it's going to be spectacular. I can't wait to see what you do for all of us. The design you put together for the new fishing pole. It's going to be spectacular. I think you're going to be overwhelmed by the amount of orders you get from people, because we got people, it's so crazy. We got people tattooing our logo on their body. So I know they'll get a rod.
You have to have a tattoo in order to have this rod to go fishing. That should be a rule.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I wonder how many of the listeners are excited to see what we're coming up with.
I don't know, guys. Let us know. Leave a comment if you guys are excited about seeing what we're talking about. Daniel Rubin's on here right now. Daniel, you missed it. We were talking about your stuff here earlier in the show. And yeah, I know those rods that you sent us up there to Alaska with the Tesoro 5NS. That rod and reel combo would be spectacular for this Sandbass thing. It would work epic. And Daniel said he's excited.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are, little buddy. Everybody's excited. Come on, you guys. Leave some comments. Let us know. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Let everybody know.
Lisa's excited.
Tomorrow show, we got Carl from Fisherman's Landing. Because of all the things that are going on at Your Saltwater Guide, Fisherman's Landing stepped up to the plate and hired our good buddy Elliot to manage their social media platform. Because of all of you and all the comments and all the likes and all the views we get every month, it just driving everybody that wants. Here we go. Matt Ryan, welcome.
Dave, what's happening?
We're stoked that you're on here.
What's up, gang?
Tell us a story.
Oh, I don't even want to. I'm too embarrassed to even talk about it, man. But
Tiffany's right here. She'll make you a new fishing pole.
Oh yeah, I need a replacement. Tiffany, can you help me out?
Sure can.
Yeah, I need a commemorative rod to commemorate the one that I lost over at the flats.
By chance, do you have a picture of it in previous fishing shots that you've done?
It's just a basic rod, but I want something cool now.
Okay.
So I know you're the person to do it.
We can come up with a cool design for you. So give me a call and we'll work something out.
Awesome.
So
But yeah, the Sandbass fishing is wide open. We did great out there. It was super fun. I don't know about Darren, but we had to get through the darn mackerel to get to the Sandbass. So the mackerel were loaded up out there, like 2 to 3 pounders.
that's what usually happens in this Sandbass bite. And then you look right below the mackerel and you see the Sandbass just waiting underneath of them to get your bait when it goes through them.
Yeah, exactly. And then we moved spots. So we kind of got away from the mackerel a little bit, and then we were on a great Sandbass bite. Like every bait in the water was a Sandbass. The minimum size was 16 inches. They're all between 16 and 19 inches that we were catching. So we were doing great. And then my wife was reeling in one. It was coming in kind of slow, and then out of nowhere, this big old blue shark just came up and inhaled it. It was insane.
Yeah, it was a great picture. I'm trying to find it while you're talking here. But what happened? Why did you throw your fishing pole over the side?
I go to help her take a fish off of hers. I leave mine leaning against the rail with a bare hook, no bait on it at all, and it's just dabbing the surface of the water.
Well, cut it off.
Take fish off of hers.
I already
look
saw.
over, and there goes my rod over the rail. I didn't say one word to the wife. I just dove right in.
Over here.
I still had her rod in my hand, and then I scooped up the rod that was going overboard. I hand it to her. I go, grab the rod. And she goes, where's my rod?
No way.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I took her rod into the water and lost it.
And in the heat of the moment, you let go of hers and got yours. Yay. But actually, yeah, wonderful. I just showed everybody your blue shark, which is really bitching to see. That water's so clean and that shark looks so great. But he got your lure, you got your rod.
Yeah.
It's what a day.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool, though. I haven't seen a blue shark in like 10 years. So just to have that thing come up and eat her fish just to prove that they're back, that was awesome. And then after we got him, we cut the line. And after we cut the line, he was swimming around the boat for like 2 hours with the lead head sticking out of his mouth.
Oh,
but
poor little feller.
Yeah, I know that'll rust out soon. But he looked fine. He was huge. He had to have been 8 feet long.
How wonderful is that? And then, Matt, guys are asking, how deep are you fishing out there? What depth were you guys in?
Just like you told me, 80 feet, look for the boomerangs, anchor up, start chumming.
Isn't that amazing when a plan comes together?
It's just amazing when you listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Thank you very, very much.
Key thing right there.
And
yeah.
Justin,
I will say one thing: we were one of the first boats out there, but then after we've been out there for a couple hours, it turned into a parking lot. So it does get busy out there.
Absolutely, it's the hottest thing in town. That's why we know Gavin Newsom's going to do everything in his power to shut it down, Matt. Because there's a bunch of people out there smiling, having fun. Oh, Lord have mercy. It must be driving him nuts as he's building his new $1 billion house in Montecito. He must be just losing his mind thinking people are having fun in California. He's got to figure this out. So what's he doing?
The weather's beautiful. Sorry, the weather's beautiful, so we're getting suntans also. You know he hates that.
Oh, yeah. You're criminal number one. And then holy Christ. But he'll get you guys 61 cents a gallon going on July 1st. Whoopee. There you go.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Oh, he's such a cool dude. Say, he's a good dude.
Even though it was a parking lot out there, it was a ton of boats. Everybody was spread out and nobody was on top of each other. Plenty of room, plenty of space between boats. So there was none of that, going over somebody's chum line, any of that. There was plenty of room, even with a lot of boats out there.
Right. Well, it'd be fun to be out there on the weekend making some videos. It'd be crazy. Justin just added a brand new trip, gang. It looks like he's got, I think 2 spots available. Maybe they're already sold out. Probably people already sent them. But on July 7th, he's going to do an open party trip, and Lisa and her father already grabbed 2 of the spots. That means he's got 2 more spots. He's going to go out there to the flats and check it out. You got a good chance of having a great day fishing with Justin on Bowline Sport Fishing. Check him out. If you haven't already, give him a call. Get on that trip. 2 spots left before the show's over. They'll probably be gone, Matt.
And post the pictures up.
What?
Post the pictures up on your Saltwater Guide website, because I can't fish for a while, so I need to see the pictures.
Everybody will be posting lots of pictures of Tiffany. So while you're laying in bed, we'll be posting pictures of all the great fish we're catching. Absolutely. And then Matt, when are you fishing again?
I got a vacation coming up for 2 weeks, so I'll be going as much as I can.
Nice. Cool. Good for you. Gang, don't miss out on the game plans. Talk to you soon, Matt. Thanks for calling in.
Take care.
Don't miss out on the game plans, gang. They're coming out today around 3:30, between 3:30 and 4:30. You got to pay attention. It's going to be absolutely amazing. The amount of information you're going to get. Everything's biting everywhere. There's lots of that bluefin outside of Clemente on out towards the Tanner and down across the border. It's way the heck out there, gang, and it's not much of a daytime bite, but we're going to have covering everything on the game plans for this weekend. You're going to hear some phenomenal reports from Justin, what's going on over at Catalina, what's going on out in front of his harbor in Long Beach, LA. Sonny's got a phenomenal report for the Channel Islands, which is like the best sea bass fishing it's been in a very, very long time. I know that's killing you too, Tiffany. You're being on your back, not being able to go catch those big white sea bass. Now there's yellowtail sprinkling in on this thing. And if history showed us anything, and this Sandbass shows up, July and August are great yellowtail fishing months. Cold water is what that yellowtail likes, and we got plenty of it. The water temperature down here in Cabo went from 62 to 63 in less than a week. The water's super cold down here and got real dirty. So I think we're in store for lots of cold water, which is good for Southern California. You guys that only like to catch yellowfin tuna and dorado in Southern California, you may need to move. For sale in Florida, and there's some stuff for sale down here in Cabo, but I think you're going to be very disappointed if you're waiting for the dorado in Southern California. You may see some in September, but I think it's time to go fishing and go catch a bunch of fish and get in Tiffany's classes and go learn how to wrap a rod. Right?
Yep.
And give them your website one last time and we're gone.
It's vaguerods.net.
vaguerods.net. Plus all of you that are members of Your Saltwater Guide. Tiffany's very, very active on the community and her rod building section. Her and Dave Burris put together. You can find out a bit of information you want on our website. If you're not a member of our website, then just enjoy sucking at fishing. It's up to you. You don't have to be involved. You can go get information from the last week's information websites or whatever you want. But if you want the real deal, we got Justin Bottrell out fishing live every day. We got Al fishing live. We got Pablo fishing live. We got Sonny up at the Channel Islands running a 80-foot Viking. We got Dana Orr Sport Fishing. We got real information over here, gang. But we understand a lot of you still like to suck at fishing. So whatever you do, if you like sucking at fishing, don't get involved with us. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow at 12 o'clock with Carl Schmidt from Fisherman's Landing. It'll be a great show. Thank you all. Tiffany, thank you. Go lay down. I kept you out of bed for over an hour. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll go lay down now. Good night.
All right. I don't want your dad calling me up and yelling at me.